Hello everybody, this is Derek with Reef Automation. Today I'm going to go over the Focustronic Alkatronic. I had it for roughly 6 months and I used it before I had purchased my Trident for testing my alkalinity, as it's been out for quite a while. It's been out probably since 2017, and I really enjoyed it while I had it, and I wanted to go over some of the pros and cons of the unit, and hopefully this will help you in deciding whether or not to purchase one. So let's get started. So the unit is made by a company called Focustronic. They make a couple things right now, not a lot of things. They make a doser and they make a light. And of course, their Alkatronic is their big seller. You could purchase it typically from saltwateraquarium.com here in the United States. Also, I believe Premium and Aquatic sells it. They're readily available. I haven't seen them difficult to get. They do come with a pretty hefty price tag. Here in the United States, they'll run you roughly $1,000. And one of the things about the unit that I really like is that it strictly only tests alkalinity. And let me explain why I say I really like that. I really like that because if you're someone that has, let's say, a calcium reactor, and all you really need to know is the alkalinity throughout the day, this is a perfect device for you. Now, if you're dosing two-part or if you're concerned about other elements, this might not be the best product for you, and you might want to look elsewhere, like a Trident. Um, but if you're strictly using a calcium reactor and you just want to know your alkalinity throughout the day, this is a perfect piece of equipment for you. So what you'll see is it has three sections here. I'm sorry, pumps here. One of the pumps is an incoming pump to get water from the tank. One of the pumps is an outgoing pump to get rid of the waste. And then the other pump is strictly for the reagent that you need to use with the unit. Now, one thing about the reagent of this is it's quite cheap in consideration. It's $110 for a concentrated 4-liter bottle. Now, what that means is you actually have to make your own reagent. Now, one of the things that I struggled with when I had the unit was making my own reagent. You have to use a specific amount of the reagent in comparison to your RODI water to get the correct reagent. And I noticed that if you're just off by a little bit with the reagent, that your numbers will be a little askew on the Alkatronic. So just be aware that one of the things about the Alkatronic is you have to make your own reagent. And typically you'll put that in a dosing container and have it kind of sit next to it. It's pretty simple other than that. When you get it, you just follow the directions. You put the pH probe into this little beaker, and then you put the stir into the beaker. And again, all you really need is a waste container or a waste line, and all you need is tank water and the reagent. It also has an additional pump right here. Now, what's nice about the additional pump is the additional pump would hook up to an alkalinity supplement, and the Alkatronic will automatically dose your alkalinity, keep it stable, with an alkalinity supplement. Now, I believe that is a really ingenious idea that they came up with for this unit. However, on the flip side, it would be nice if you could use this just for a standard dosing pump. Now, for those that are using a calcium reactor, like I said, this is basically a dosing pump that's not doing anything. Now, it'd be nice to be able to dose, magnesium or possibly dose phyto or dose an amino of some sort, but unfortunately, the unit doesn't allow you to dose anything but alkalinity based on the numbers that it receives. Now, it has a pH port on the side, and that pH port, which is a BNC connector, can be connected to a third-party device, such as an Apex, and therefore you can then see your results on an Apex, which is really nice. Um, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it. But that's kind of what it looks like inside. It's very simple. There's not a lot of moving parts. And this is kind of what the app looks like. Very simple. Tells you your alkalinity, tells you when you last tested. So this one will measure every 1 to 12 hours, and you can control when you want it to be tested. It also has a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity. It does have a cloud server connectivity, so you could actually connect to this outside of your home if you want to see what the results are. One thing to note is that it does not need to be connected to Wi-Fi to function. This is a standalone unit and it will work and test even if it's not connected to internet. It gives you its information here at the top and it will tell you specifically what your alkalinity is. Right now what it's showing on the website is the version numbers, but normally it'll say what your DKH is and what it's doing throughout the day. One thing about the Alkatronic, it is large. Um, it isn't as large as, let's say, a Reef bot, but it is quite big, and you need to have the space to be able to open the front door to get to it if you ever need to get to it. So with the door, you got to have a good amount of clearance up front. What's nice is it has some holes in the back so you can mount it to a wall, which is really nice. In terms of its precision and in terms of its accuracy, I found that the accuracy was dependent upon how well you did the reagent mixing, and that's what I was getting at earlier. So the accuracy is quite good, but you have to make sure that you have done the reagent mixing properly. I noticed when I didn't do the reagent mixing properly, the results were not accurate. So just keep that in mind. One thing that's really nice though about the alkalinity is if your results are not accurate, there is a section in the alkalinity controller that allows you to put an offset. So if you messed up on your reagent and your alkalinity is off by, let's say, 1 DKH, you can go into the device and say that I need an offset of 1 DKH so that it's accurate, which is really nice because if you screw up the reagent, at least you have the ability to go in there and say, well, I screwed up the reagent and I can now easily have a perfect way of getting the correct information based on the offset. Now, when I was using it, I was using a HANA checker to kind of see how accurate it was with the HANA checker, which I found that the HANA checker was very accurate with the Alkatronic. At the time, I wasn't sending in ICP testing, so I don't know how accurate it was to the ICP, but I can tell you that it was very accurate to the HANA checker. So again, make sure you're mixing the reagent properly, and it's usually 1/4 of reagent or 1 part to 4 parts of RODI water, and that's how you mix the reagent. And I was using a kitchen scale. I found that to be the best. I've heard that most people use a cuvette, a large beaker, number of different things to mix this just to make sure it's good. I could tell you that the reagent lasts a significant amount of time. It alerts you when the reagent's low. It alerts you whenever there's an issue with the unit. It also alerts you when it tests, and you can set that up to alert you upon a number of different items. So overall, I found that this unit is kind of a set and forget device, and there's very low maintenance. It works pretty much every time. I didn't really have any issues with it, with the exception of the reagent. I did have an issue with my accuracy, but once I figured out that I could just offset it, it didn't present an issue for me. So I'm going to give this product a thumbs up. I think it's a great product. Some of the things that I wish that they would change on it would be, like I said, the pump, allowing you to use the pump for whatever you'd like to. Another thing that I would like to say is it's a little expensive. For $1,000 to just test one component, I think is a little bit on the pricier side when you can get yourself Trident, and the Trident will test all 3 parameters, and it's $600. Uh, Now again, the Trident does require an Apex, whereas the Alkatronic does not. So there's kind of a double-edged sword there. The other thing that I'd like to mention about this is that it currently only works on an iPhone and an iPad. At the time of purchase when I had it, it would not work on an Android phone. I don't know if they have changed that, but in their website currently it says that the Android app is still to follow. So I'm assuming that they have not released that as of this time. Um, I would say, like I said, overall, fantastic device. One other thing to mention is their customer service is by far one of the best out there. I found that Jonas, the owner of Focustronic, was always there for me whenever I needed any help with anything at any time of day. I could message them, I could call them, I could get to them right away through their Facebook group. I found them to be exceptional in their customer service. So overall, I do recommend this unit. Again, if you're just wanting to test alkalinity, they also have a dosing device that I've never used before called the Dosatronic, which is technically just a doser. And based on the results that I noticed from the Alkatronic and the ease of use, I would have to imagine their Dosatronic is just as good. So they will be releasing something called a Mastertronic, which is going to be testing phosphate and nitrate and I believe potassium. I'd have to double check. It's not released yet. There's a lot of mixed information on it, but I am anxiously awaiting to buy one. I would like to ditch my Reef bot and get the Mastertronic in its place. So I highly recommend this unit and I highly recommend this company. They have really stepped up their game with testing. They were one of the first automatic testers that were out there, and they have perfected their device. So, if you like the video, please like below. And if you have any questions or comments, please let me know down in the comments section. Also, again, the company is Focustronic, and you can get a hold of them pretty easily. And most of the companies out there sell it, so you can get it relatively easily, and the reagent's pretty easy to get as well. So, anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.